Well, that's tuning into today's video, and happy Easter. Hope you're all having a lovely day. The weather's still a bit cloudy in the east, but it is brighter, it's sunnier in the west, and I keep promising that these sunny spells are going to break through. They will increasingly break through in central eastern parts of the country through the rest of this afternoon, and particularly tomorrow. It's a slow old process to improve things, but I think we will all see something of the sun by the time we get through to the end of Bank Holiday Monday. Now, just for today's video, I'm going to have a quick look at the CFS V2 and just see what it's suggesting still for April. Still the idea there that we could get some significant changes in the weather for sort of the final week or so of the month. Could turn quite a bit colder. So I'll show you the charts on that in a moment. But before I get on with that, just to say about the ads, there's links to articles on all the pages at gazworthies.com, and the widget sits just underneath the weather video here on the home page. Have a browse through, and anything that you're interested in, please click through and you'll be able to go off and read those articles. And because you're clicking from Gazworthies to wherever the article is, we'll get a revenue fee on what you're doing. There's also video ads on some of the pages. They open out within the written content, but not on every page. I'm just experimenting with them. So if you see any of those video ads, you can skip them, but please, if you have got time, do watch them. They're only around 20 or 30 seconds, proper TV sort of commercial length. So have a quick watch of those if you see them. You probably notice I've made some quite significant changes to the home page this weekend. So the video now is on the same level as the written summary as you're looking at the page. You don't have to go off and look for the video as you use it. It's right there, what we call above the fold in the website owning business. So it's right there above the fold, and the written summary and the video are on a par with one another. Now, I hope you like the changes. It's quite a significant change, so it's probably going to take a bit of getting used to it, but I hope you like it. Okay, let's get on with the video, and we've got some pretty warm weather coming up over the next few days, particularly at the end of the week and into the weekend. So just starting off with the temperatures from the latest one of the GFS model. Here we are for Saturday, suggested to be somewhere in the mid-teens, so around 14, 15, 16, 17 degrees. But as we run through, the temperature's going to boost. So for Sunday, a week's time, we're seeing temperatures up to 18 or 19 degrees on the south coast. Look how warm it is down across France, up to 21, 22. And that sort of warmth is pushing up from the south. So we go through to Monday. This is Monday the 13th. Quite a way out, but yeah, the warmth is there, up to 19, possibly 20 degrees. It's just over the channel, up to 21, so that's 70 Fahrenheit. So we'll be knocking on the door probably of the 70 Fahrenheit mark as we run up through to the middle part of the month. And that continues into Tuesday the 14th of April as well, on the south coast up to 20 degrees. And you may again be able to increase that to say around 21, 70 Fahrenheit. So a proper burst of early summer warmth on the way, I think, through particularly the end of this week and into sort of next weekend, and then the start of the following week. Could be some significantly warm weather. We can see this on the GFS temperature and precipitation ensembles. The red line here is the 30-year temperature average. You can see we're going to be solidly above average for the foreseeable future. This is the 15th of April just here. And up to that point, anyway, we're solidly sort of above the red line. So pretty warm first half to April coming up. Now, as we go through to the second part of the ensemble, which is this part just here, you can see that the temperature ensembles are generally staying above the red line still, so still generally above average, going up to, say, the 20th of April, which is around here. But notice there's much more scatter beginning to appear within that part of the ensemble then. There are several members of the ensemble that are going really quite cold as we go through, say, to around the final 10 days of April. And the white line here, which is the ensemble mean, does dip a little bit, actually, as it gets towards the latter part of the chart. And that's right in the extended range of the GFS, so it's a long way out, not to be relied upon. But certainly up to the middle part of the month anyway, looks like temperatures are going to be holding up very nicely. And very dry conditions coming up as well. So there's no precipitation spikes at all until around the 11th of April. They may come back a little bit, but it's not really until the second half of the month, again 15th of April just there, not really until the second half of the month that those precipitation spikes do begin to come back more and more. Again, that's why the extended range of the GFS model, so it's not to be relied upon. But yeah, I think up to the middle part of the month, a lot of dry weather, and then possibly turning more unsettled as we get through into the second half of the month. And then those questions about the final week to 10 days. So these are the CFS 500 with a height anomaly charts broken down into weekly periods. CFS V2, borrowed from America, of course. 500 millibar heights are extrapolated to pressure, really. So it's temperature at 500 millibars, 18,000 feet, where we've got red colours, we've got high pressure, we've got blue colours, green colours, we've got low pressure. So the first chart here is for the 4th to the 10th of April, for the week that is coming up. And yeah, the high pressure is firmly in there across the country. The low pressure kept out around Greenland, and the jet stream going something like that. So on mile side of jet, one bridge of high pressure, going to be very pleasant indeed, as we saw on the height anomaly flow chart. So let's go through to the next week period. This from the 11th to the 17th. This could when we get the peak of the temperatures perhaps this month, because the high pressure goes towards the east of the country, with the trough of low pressure elongating down into the central part of the Atlantic. The jet stream is doing something like that. So that is drawing up, potentially, anyway, southerly winds. And those winds, as we saw on those temperature forecasts of the GFS, could start to lift the temperatures up to around 20 or 21 degrees as we run up towards the middle of the month. So getting towards the 70 Fahrenheit mark. It's good to see that the GFS and the CFS, and the CFS sort of the cousin of the GFS, is in agreement about the pattern up to the middle part of the month. But then we start to see changes as we get through to the second half of the month. This is for the week from the 18th to the 24th of April. We find the ridge moving down to the south, so it's going down towards Spain and Portugal as the low pressure starts to push back in off the Atlantic. So it's turning more unsettled through that period, most definitely. Low pressure is beginning to come back in off the Atlantic. Initially, it'll be the north and the west with dry weather in the south-southeast, but it's a transitional period. So as we go towards the end of the period, we probably find turning unsettled even down into the south and southeast. Notice this area of blocking developing over the top of the North Pole. That becomes very influential as we get through to the final weekly period. This takes us from the 25th of April through to the 1st of March. And for this one, we see that the trough of low pressure is being pushed to the south, and this blocking area of high pressure takes over up to the north. So to the north of Iceland, around Greenland, to the north of Scandinavia, we've got a blocking area of high pressure, and that puts us onto the cold side of the jet stream and would turn the winds into the north and the northeast. Now this is very late by this point. This is the 25th to the 1st of May. So we're probably not going to get snow at that point, although very occasionally, April 1981 was one year where this happened. Very occasionally, even at the very end of April, you can get quite heavy snow. That's very unlikely, but it could turn significantly colder. It could turn more unsettled as well. And we may, the problem I'm most concerned with for sort of the end of April is probably frost, because with all this warm weather that we're going to have in the next couple of weeks, it's going to bring out the fruit blossom. So if we do get some significant frost right at the end of April, that could have quite an impact, actually, on certainly the prices of the fruit as we get through towards the summer and the autumn. So we've got to be keeping an eye on that. I'm sure farmers will be rather concerned about those signals. The temperature anomaly for the coming month goes along with those 500 millibar heights. Well, we're above average for the 4th to the 10th in those red colours, so pretty warm week coming up. That becomes even more above average as we go through to the 11th to 17th. This could be the peak of the warmth. Remember, we're bringing up the southerly winds through to the middle part of the month, so temperatures could get up to around 21, 70 Fahrenheit at the outside. Still mild for the next week, the 18th to the 24th, although the temperatures are lowering, and this is a period where we're beginning to find the high pressure slipping away to south, allowing low pressure in. And then we go through to the last week, the 25th to the 1st. It doesn't go colder than average, but it does go to average. So a significant drop in temperature is predicted there, from sort of anomalies running about a couple of degrees above average down towards the seasonal average. That's not too bad, but on the 500 millibar height anomaly, that blocking to the north, I would expect that actually to turn colder than average through that last week of April. But it's just going to be a question of how cold it gets, whether it gets cold enough to bring through some significant night frost. The Beijing Climate Centre, 500 millibar heights broken down into 10-day periods look like this. So for the first 10 days, from the 6th to the 15th, high pressures in across the country. That's okay. It's going to be a very settled, very mild period up to the middle part of the month. The high pressure is still there, or the above average heights are still there, but they are lowering as it begins to turn more unsettled. So the jet stream is starting to come back in like that. So again, this is a transitional period from the 16th to 25th. The high pressure is beginning to be eroded, gradually break down. Northwest gets to be changed to unsettled conditions first, and it gradually spreads across the country. And then for the final 10-day period, this going from the 26th to the 5th of May, look about a big change around. It doesn't have the northern blocking, but it does bring back below average heights big time. So it turns very unsettled through that final sort of stage of April. The jet stream coming right back in across the country like that, and like that as well. So much more unsettled for the final sort of few days of April. As I say, it doesn't have the northern blocking, so it's not in agreement with the CFS for that. So it doesn't have blocking around Iceland to the north of Scandinavia. But nevertheless, it's sort of the same idea that it's turning unsettled as we get through towards the final week or so of April, possibly going on into the start of May as well. And it's going to be a case of whether we get that northern blocking in place. If we do, it'll push the trough further south and it'll dig colder air in from the north. But overall, April's looking really good for the first half anyway. It could be a very strange month. April's normally a month where it gets significantly warmer as we go through. This could be a very odd month in that the first half of April could be really quite warm and settled. The second half, I'm still got questions about it based on these charts. So the second half could turn a good deal more unsettled, possibly colder as well. So it's going to be a case of watch your space. If it does pan out like this, as I say, it's going to be a very unusual month. But we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. That's it for now then. Enjoy what's left of your Easter Sunday. And that's all for now. Thanks for watching.